evening, everybody. Welcome back to the Political Theater, everybody. I'm Walter Curt, your host. Thank you guys for being here this evening. We have got a huge show this evening, guys. We've got a ton to talk about. There is more news today than there's been in a long time. Obviously, everyone's paying attention to what's going on up in Minnesota. It has erupted into absolute chaos following the shooting of a protester who was apparently following around one of the ICE agents. She tried to run over an ICE agent. Then shortly afterwards, in that moment there, he fired upon her and killed her. And now there's apparently riots that may be erupting across the city, looking like it might be BLM 2.0. So we're going to get into that. Then we're also going to get into the investigation we've been doing here in Ohio. We've got a jam-packed show of information we got to go over. We got to go over what we found on day 2. We got to go over some of the results of the investigation already. We're already seeing some of the results of that. And then we're also going to talk about the fact that the swatted crew has truly been collecting scalps on a scale that is just unbelievable at this point. It's incredible what we've been managing to accomplish. And those who are not familiar with the swatted group, that is all the conservative journalists and influencers that were swatted back in March of this past year. We all became friends as a result of that. And as a result of that, there has nothing been, everywhere that we have been has just been blowing up, which has just been very entertaining to watch. So we're going to talk about that, and we've got a lot more to get into and some other news to go over. So I think we're going to start out with the Minnesota story, obviously, because that is the number one focus. So make sure you guys share this stream out. Make sure you guys share the link out. Everyone who's listening to us on Rumble, YouTube, Substack, wherever you guys may be tuning in this evening. Thank you guys for being here this evening. We're not going to do an X Space tonight, guys. We get too much to talk about. We'll be doing an X Space probably tomorrow night. If I'm not in Minnesota, I might be flying up to Minnesota if this really starts to erupt out here, because it's starting to go a little bit crazy. But guys, make sure you guys leave a comment down below if you've got something to say. And I will always try and read the comments out on the space. If you guys have anything else to say, you can always send me a DM. I always have open DMs, and you can always send me an email if you want to send me a tip or anything you want me to look into. So let's get into this story right away. The Minnesota chaos erupting, obviously, as a result of the ICE officers that were having targeted operations in Minneapolis. Looks like this protester was following this person around. Now, let me just give you a brief, from my objective point of view, looking at this. Kind of looks like the cop is a little bit jumpy on the trigger, but at the same time, this person shouldn't have been following them and shouldn't have been trying to run them over. But the other side of this is, what are you doing in front of a car? I'm sorry, ICE officer. You don't stand in front of vehicles. Not a smart decision in any scenario. Imagine if he wasn't able to control his firearm there, and when she had gone to hit him, he had fired a gun and hit one of the other guys. I mean, this could have gone way worse than it. I mean, it didn't exactly go well. But regardless of that, the ICE officer is not in the wrong here because she tried to run him over. But I'm just saying, in terms of safety-wise, what were you doing in front of the vehicle, man? That's insane. Not a smart move on your part, especially if this person was trying to follow them around everywhere. I mean, it's not exactly a wise decision to get in front of moving vehicles, no matter how they are, and especially this person is nuts and following you around and harassing you guys all day. The last place I would stand is in front of that vehicle. But unfortunately, so she decided to try and run him over, and he did end up shooting her. Apparently, the woman was dead immediately, so she crashed the vehicle, and now the entire streets are filled with people screaming, "Rise up, rise up, rise up," which is, that's nice. We got to remember that Minneapolis is also the home of the George Floyd riots, guys. So this place is a hot spot already. I'm not going to be surprised if this place kind of gets even more heated as we get into this here. So we'll talk about a little bit more of what we see there, and we'll go through some clips of that when I get some other people on here on the show. But I also want to talk about a couple of the other stories we have here, because obviously the Ohio story is what we've been focused on down here in Columbus, Ohio. And today was day 2 of us going around and trying to see if we can figure out what's going on with these daycares, the amount of money that's going into it. Now, today was different because we actually took out and found how much money some of these organizations were receiving, specifically the subsidies for the daycares themselves. Now, this is the same sort of thing that Nick Shirley was doing for the daycares that he was looking at. And, to our shock, when we started looking, what do you think the number one location, the most tax dollars in fiscal year 2026 received? What do you think that organization was? Lo and behold, it was Jubba Daycare, the place that we got to and didn't even mean to show up to. We didn't even mean to be there. We were looking for the value center and the tax audit location. And sure enough, we show up at Jubba Daycare. The guy throws us out, throws Mahek Cook, our journalist, out by physically throws her out. And this place has received $1.5 million of your tax dollars over the past number of years, and $155,000 just in this year alone. So in the fiscal year 2025, it's received 2026. Fiscal year 2026, it's received $155,000 already. Now, again, the point is with these places is what what are you doing with this money? Because these places are terrible looking. Now, the other side of this is we started looking into the compliance records on these places. None of them are compliant. None of them are at all. They've all failed their inspections. In fact, they failed their inspections every year that they were in business, yet they're not being closed. So this begs the question of why exactly are the inspectors now? We have the name of one of the inspectors that's just doing this, and she's been listed on a number of these places, a number of these really bad ones that we went to. She was listed, and she gives a very detailed report. I mean, she talks about how dirty it is, the problems with it, all the places that they failed. And the question is, what exactly? Who's in charge of shutting these places down if they're failing for compliance? I don't know if it's the inspector's job to shut them down or if there's another agency that's supposed to do that. That stuff we're going to find out, but we're going to talk to the inspector herself and see what she has to say, because I'm actually of the mind that I think she might be willing to talk to us, because if she's the only person going out doing these inspections and she sees all this stuff, I'm not going to be surprised if she really, really wants to, get into this. If she would rather talk about it and she wants to get the information out there and wonder why, she keeps going back year after year and it's just worse and worse. I don't even think, I doubt highly that she knows that they're getting state fundings. I mean, I doubt it, but we'll find out, because we're going to look into that. That's the kind of stuff that we're going to look into. We're going to see if we can find this woman. We're going to talk to her. We're going to get some information from her, see if she's been willing to talk to us. Maybe she will, maybe she won't. I have the mind that I think she will. But again, so Jubba Daycare is $155,000, and we went to probably 5 or 6 different places that each of them had already received $100,000 or more in fiscal year 2026. And almost all of them were the same story. It's the same story we've already told on here, and we've told it multiple times, that apparently, you don't have to have, regular business hours. Your numbers on your doors cannot even go anywhere. Some of these places we went to are just completely dilapidated buildings, and they've had multiple different daycares in them over the years. They changed the name, and they don't update anything outside. It looks like a dilapidated, wasteland outside, but they keep getting money. I mean, one of these places we went to, we didn't even know if it was open. It had like 6 different names on the front of it. We look up all the different names. We finally find the right one. It's not even on the building. We find the right one for the address, and it's received, $300,000. Of course it has. Why wouldn't it have? I mean, this is the kind of stuff that adds up. And if people are wondering how much money is really involved, well, again, you got to go look at all of these things together. You've got 1 or 2 businesses. It's not 1 or 2. Again, there's a video that I haven't even released yet, and it's of us driving down the street in Columbus on one street that we ended up calling Daycare Row because it's so ridiculous. There's a daycare every other block. I mean, it's not even a joke. It's like daycare, daycare, daycare. Sometimes there's daycares right next to each other. There'll be one here and one here in the same building. And there'll be 2 different businesses. I mean, what are you doing? What do you need all these daycares for? There's no way it makes sense. Okay, every other business in a location, every single one of them's a daycare. Why? It's so obvious that this is fraudulent. And of course, we've got DeWine out here, which our friend, which we'll bring on here in just a minute here, one of the other investigators has been out here, has named everything is fine DeWine, which I find hysterical, because it's perfect, because that's what he said. Oh, no, there's nothing wrong. But that's okay. Because as we've been talking about, and that's what I was wanting to bring up here, is that we're starting to take scalps. And the reality is that the swatted crew has been taking scalps quite a bit here recently. Myself working in this Ohio investigation, today we find out that there is an internal investigation audit that has already revealed $20 million worth of fraud in the Child and Youth Services program in Ohio. And this is in the Ohio program. They've already found $20 million. And it says in the article, in just the first few hours. All right, DeWine. Oh, it's all safe and everything's above board then, huh? Everything's great? Sure. All right, so that's one. Now, the other part of this is we've also got an announcement. I was talking to Jack Windsor, who is a reporter in. He runs a radio show in here in Ohio. He's a great investigative journalist. I was working with him a couple days ago, and now I was on a show earlier, and he told me on his show that Ohio Senator Andrew Brenner, I believe it is Andrew Brenner, that he's the chair of the Education Committee here in the Ohio Senate, and he's going to look to claw back the money from SERC. So the money that they got this past year, the $14 million that we talked about, they're going to try and get that money back. So this is results from the investigation. We're doing good. The Ohio investigation is going well. And then we start to look up and see what's going on. So, obviously Minnesota explodes today. So what's going on up in Minnesota? We start taking a look. And Minnesota, we've got 2 of the guys from the swatted crew up there right now. We've got Dustin Grach, who lives there in Minnesota, and you've got Nick Sorter. And Dustin, people need to give Dustin a lot of credit here for taking down walls. This guy has been all over Tim Walz for a long, long time. It's not new. He's been all over him long before Shirley ever got involved in that. Dustin has been all over top of this guy, including working with whistleblowers, activists. He is doing amazing work up there. But none of us, out of all of the crew in the swatted, can quite hold a candle to the kind of scalps that Nick Sorter is taking now. So I'm going to put this up on the screen, and just so you can understand the visual effect of this. And this is just something I just never thought would be possible. But this is the level that we are living at now. Okay? In Minnesota, Nick Sorter was dealing with Hilton, and Hilton had decided that they were going to go after ICE agents, or this specific franchise of Hilton said that they were going to go after ICE agents and they were not going to let them stay at their hotels or whatever it is. So, this is incredible. Okay? So this here is unbelievable stuff. And no, and someone just asked me if I'm talking about David. No, David is not the same person. Dustin Grage is a completely different person than David, and up there in Minnesota, guys. Different guy. You got to look up Dustin Grage. He is a investigator that's been doing all sorts of stuff up in Minnesota. A completely different person than the David from the Nick Shirley video. But anyway, guys, this picture I'm looking at. Do you understand what this is? This is the Hilton. This is the Hilton that was saying that they couldn't bring ICE agents in. Okay? They're removing the sign. Nick Sorter has managed to remove the sign from the building. Like, that is a level of scalp I didn't even think possible. We're taking the signs off their buildings now. This is what citizen journalists are doing across the country today. We are working and so effectively, and we're so good at what we're doing and getting messaging out to people that when a company makes a mistake, we can get the sign taken off their building. That is unbelievable to me. So Nick Sorter needs a lot of, this is the most amazing thing I've ever seen. I've never seen anything this hysterical in my life. Just looking at this, I was like, what? They took the sign off the building? That's incredible. I mean, just, wow. I've never seen anything like it. So you got to laugh. I mean, this is just amazing. This is the best photo I've ever seen. Easily the best photo I've ever seen in my life. I absolutely love it. So this is the kind of stuff that happens when you mess with the swatted crew. Now, for those who don't know, the other people in the swatted crew, you've got Gunther Eagleman, you got myself, you have Dustin Grage, you have Nick Sorter, you've got Chad Caton. There's a bunch of people in this group. Sean Farash is one of the guys in there. This entire crew of people, Mike Engelman's another one. These people, all of these guys are great guys. And it's really interesting that they went after us and they tried to take us down months ago. And none of us responded with, oh, we're going to cower away and we're not going to say anything anymore. No. Instead, we have doubled down to the point that we're taking the signs off your fucking buildings if you start screwing with the things we don't want. And it's unbelievable to me. I love it. This is what I'm here for. This is incredible stuff. Scalps don't even justify it. I've never heard of a journalist managing to get this to happen. You got the sign. It's like not even a week. He got the sign taken off their building in less than a week. That is unbelievable. I love it. I love every minute of it. I love every minute of it. And this is the kind of stuff that you can do if you really actually work together. And this is the kind of stuff that should happen. If you make mistakes and the public finds out about it, the mainstream media is useless. They're not going to talk about anything. But this right here, this Hilton is a billion-dollar company, multi-billion-dollar company, I believe. I'm not sure what they trade at, but I know that's a huge company, okay? They're taking the signs off of buildings because of journalists. That is power. Okay, that means you are doing something. That means you have real influence in the world, okay? It's not just, oh, no, it's just trending on Twitter. They took the sign down. I mean, damn, in less than a week. That's amazing to me. We're getting results, people, and that's what I'm here for. That's what I care about more than anything else. I was talking with one of the investigative journalists out here, and he was asking me, what I do for credit? And it's like, look, dude, it's not about that. It's not about that. It's not about the credit and all that. Like, you get your message out to as many people as you can. That's what I care about. I want things to happen, okay? I want more action. I want actual results, and I think that's where we're getting to now. All right, guys, make sure you guys share this link out. This is the Political Theater. I'm Walter Curt. I'm going to bring in my two co-hosts here that are sitting on the show. I've got Jay Gatling and Chris Marino. Both of these guys are friends of mine, so we're going to make sure to bring them onto the show here, guys. What is happening, guys? Crazy day. It's been very entertaining, but I'm happy to be here with you guys this evening. What's happening, guys?
Hey, what's going on there?
Chris, how are you, buddy?
Good, man.
Been a hell of a day.
Is that just me? Is that just me?
Oh, yeah, that's probably something on me. I'll fix it. 1 second here. Sorry, guys.
It's all right.
I like to hear myself.
Yeah, I'm sure you do. But the audience probably doesn't.
Multiple times.
But anyway, guys, it's been one hell of a day. This photo, though, of Nick Sorter, like the Hampton, they took the sign down? Really?
Yeah.
Like, wow.
Walter, Hilton is worth approximately $68.17 billion.
Glorious. That's all I have to say, really. Glorious. We're taking the signs off their buildings, dude. I mean, that is something I've never even, like, wow. Anybody that claims that you don't have influence and you can't make a difference, yeah, sure. I mean, let's see if that's true or not. I mean, it appears that is not the case anymore. I think that as social media and the world of X has truly changed that, and no one can even argue it anymore.
Yeah. Hey, so I hadn't really stayed on top of that story. Did it turn out to be like a Somali staffer that canceled the reservations and that kind of stuff, or what was it?
To be honest with you, I have no idea. I mean, I was barely following because we were so busy here in Ohio. All I know is that I saw the initial post and my immediate comment on it as soon as I saw it, I was like, what an easy way to nuke your customer base. Like, are you crazy? Like, what? You're a hotel. Do hotel shit. Like, what are you doing? I don't understand. Like, why are you getting involved in something that is hyper partisan politics? I mean, that's hyper partisan politics to be involved in that. You're a hotel. Just rent rooms and shut up. I mean, my goodness, like, what are you doing? And of course, as a result of that, Nick was all over top of it almost immediately, and it did not go well for them. So, this is amazing stuff, really.
Yeah, that's crazy. I couldn't believe when I saw that happened. I was like, what are you doing? My initial take was, there's no way that Hilton's this stupid given their capital, right? I believe that it was like a staffer at the local level that canceled these reservations or did whatever they did. And maybe I was wrong. Maybe.
I think, Christopher, their statement was bad. I think that's what really pushed this over the edge, because their statement shouldn't have been, oh, this is just a franchisee. It's not really us. Well, no. They bear your name. So own it. And what Hilton should have done is do this themselves. They shouldn't have had to be embarrassed into having Nick Sorter go out there and force them to have their sign taken out by a crane. They should have handled this themselves.
I mean, that's what I'm saying. But, like, dude, the fact that it's like less than a week and Hilton was like, nah, send the crane. Like, damn, dude. Like, damn. Like, holy crap, man. Like, that's like, that's one, like, it's not even been a full week. You don't see something like this unless they're like, oh shit, like we got to get this down and we got to make sure that image is enough right there. Like, I think Hilton's not on the side of this franchisee anymore. I mean, that's pretty obvious. The crane arrived in less than a week. Like, wow. I mean, I've never seen anything like it. That's why I'm just sitting here watching. Like, I know we're doing good work with the other stuff we're doing here, but like the building, you took the sign off the building in less than a week. Like, that's unbelievable to me. So I had to point it out. I was like, wow. I mean, that's one hell of a story. So.
Yeah, and some of these franchisees in the Hampton Inn, they've taken a really good brand in a decent hotel, budget hotel, right, and have completely wrecked them. So my guess is when Hilton figured this out, they probably sent somebody there and was like, what is happening in this place? And there probably was other issues, which is why they immediately were like, get the crane.
Call in the crane.
Bring it quick. Let me just, it's so
people
absurd.
living in there. Like, I'm telling you, man, the last time I stayed in the Twin Cities, Hennepin County was paying homeless people, like paying the room and board at hotels. These hotels were completely booked with homeless people. They all smelled like weed and whatever else was being smoked. There was always drama out in the hallway. I actually had to go to an Airbnb because it was that bad. You know what I mean? So, and I would venture to say that probably still happening.
I mean, whatever the problem is, I mean, just the fact that they're like, get the crane, like get it today. Like that, they like it does. How quickly can you order a crane? Like, I mean, I don't know. I mean, it probably takes at least a day. So that means they did it almost instantly. Like, I mean, it's just,
yeah. They have some big contractors up there, and obviously the heavy equipment operators. So they probably said, grab a crane, pull this thing right now, and they probably paid a pretty penny for it.
Oh, I'm sure they did. But do you know that they intentionally got this photo? Like, I mean, I don't know how Dustin got the photo, but they were like, no, send it to him right now. Make sure they post it all over the internet. Like that's exactly what they did. That's exactly what they did.
I think the wrecking ball is headed there tomorrow. They're gonna have the wrecking ball.
I mean, maybe, man. At this point, like, I'm sitting here looking at this, like, well, I'll tell you right now, though. I mean, like, I'm a Hilton Honors member. I've been a Hilton Honors member for a long time. My immediate response, I'm gonna cancel it. I'm gonna cancel it right away, and that's what I know. Like, a ton of people. Well, now I'm gonna send them this photo. Like, I don't think they're playing. I think they're pretty mad. So maybe I won't cancel my Hilton Honors member just because of the glory in this photo. I mean, that's one hell of a scalp. I can't deny that. That's something else.
Well, unfortunately, yeah. I mean, that's a great move on Hilton's part. Shout out to them pulling the sign. And I would say $5 that it turns into a sleep in or or budget in. Red
Maybe a
I saw
daycare. No, I think it's going to turn
someone
into
earlier saying that they thought it was going to end up being one of those they're going to be resorted to like the dollar the hour pay by the hour sex dungeons or something like that. I was like, oh Jesus.
Yeah,
Like,
one of those shanty hotels on the other side of oh my gosh, what's the city? Not Columbus, but it starts with a D over there in Ohio that I was doing claims in. Oh my gosh, what was
Dublin probably? I don't know.
no, I'll think of it, but yeah.
I mean, but
no,
this,
I heard
this
they might turn it into a daycare. Well,
that's right. Now that's true. It's probably going to be a daycare now. So there is daycares truly everywhere. So I've never seen so many daycares in my life. I didn't know that there was that many daycares that existed. Someone was telling, I was talking with my father about this stuff, and he was telling me that in the 80s, one of the problems they had is that welfare would pay for dentistry for children. And apparently everywhere you went, there was like child dental places all over the places because they could subsidize it. I was like, wow, what the hell? Like, that's exactly what we're seeing now. I mean, there's 100 daycares in one area. I mean, if you look up daycare in Columbus, there's they say that we found some stats earlier that told us that there was 5,200 daycares or something like that in Ohio. And I was like, well, at least 4,000 of them are on this one street in Columbus. I mean, we've got a video of it. We're going to put it out later. I mean, I'm not joking when I say that you drive down the road and it is daycare, 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 daycare. There's daycares directly next to each other. Directly. I mean, not even a block away. They're in the same building. They've got a sign on either door and it's two separate businesses, but they're both daycares. It's like, what the... How does anyone believe this? I mean, how many kids are there in this area? I don't believe that. I mean, it's unreal to watch it. And of course, we've got I love that Opinions came up with everything is fine to wine. What a great line. What a great line, because that's exactly what he's doing. But of course, he's been blasted for it though. I mean, I'll put this article up just so people can see this real quick here, because this came out. It apparently came out yesterday while we were out driving about. But I want to make sure that people see this because this is a good visual, just so people understand what exactly we found, like how quickly they found out that there was indeed fraud. So let me pull this up here. I think I shared it earlier today. Here it is. Yeah. This is from Ohio News. So I want to make sure we put this up here. So this is Ohio News put this out earlier today. So Insider Agency has identified $20 million in fraud in Ohio daycares in the first couple hours of the audit. I mean, wow. Wow, DeWine, I thought everything was great. Like, dude, like, come on. Like, and it's not like this is hard. I mean, that's what we're trying to get at. I mean, the Jubba daycare, again, I will reiterate multiple times here that the Jubba daycare was by accident. And you know what Jay told us when we first got there? He said, we found the Holy Grail already. It took us, it was 1 hour. Like, we didn't even do anything. We showed up, we found the Holy Grail. And sure enough, Chris, no joke, that organization has received more money than any other daycare we looked at. Like, really? I mean, just how is it it's that simple? We didn't even do anything. We arrived and we found the worst one and they threw us out by force. It's crazy. It's unbelievable.
Yeah. When we showed up to that, because we were looking for the Jubba Value Center, which was the picture you put that went viral, and they turned that into the Jubba Mall, which is defunct. There's nothing there. It's all. But then we drove around the back because we're like, well, maybe it's because it didn't look the same. Like maybe the Jubba Value Center is behind it, whatever. And then we pull up. He's like, that says Jubba Daycare, and I said, this. I said, we just found the Holy Grail, and it turned out it was. It was unbelievable. And we went there, and as Walters told everybody, we set it we get thrown out. We drive around the front. The front's a drug-prone location with a crime, a cop camera, the Crime Stopper camera up there. So the cops know this area is bad. It's shady as hell. And it's just, but like he said,
my favorite
it's
part
one
of that
after the other.
My favorite part about this one, though, is that the cop, when we told him about it, he's like, oh, yeah, I know that place. We're like, what?
Right.
Like, what do you mean you know that place? He's like, oh, I'm over there all the time. He knew the address off the top of his head. He's like, yeah, 33 to whatever the hell was it, 32 for 34 Wolford Street. We're like, huh? He's like, oh, yeah, I'm over there all the time. Like, oh, shit. Like, what? How is it this simple? And that's what the cops really told us, though. The cops really told us, they were like, look, we know it's a problem, but what are we supposed to do? They're just beat cops. They can't fix this problem. This is a systemic issue that is all across the city, and it is obvious to anybody who's looking. So I'm glad we're getting results, though.
It was Dayton, Ohio, West Dayton.
Oh, Dayton. Yeah, that's right next to me. So yeah, I
Oh,
mean
yeah.
that's
Listen,
yeah.
don't stay in anything in West Dayton.
But listen, just don't stay in Dayton at all. All right. I mean, Dayton is not exactly the greatest place in the world.
No,
It, but
but you know what else we said, Walter, as we're driving around, and we're like, is it really this obvious, the problem? When you said we're driving around saying, how are there this many daycares in this small of an area? It doesn't make sense. It's an immediate red flag to anybody with a shred of common sense to say, you don't need this many daycares in any one area. And literally, like you said, one right next to each other, one a quarter mile down the block, down the road, one on the other side of the street across from that one. It's incredible. You said there's 5,200, 5,199 of them are in Columbus.
Yeah, I mean, it really is like that. I mean, it's and this is again, we'll go through some of the stuff. Like we found out that Franklin County is redacting the amount of money that they're sending out through this program. You know, why they're redacting it, we don't know, but we know that we've got 18,000 checks that are redacted. That doesn't make any sense. You know, there's layers and layers to this of us what we're trying to look at here, and we're going to find out more. And this investigation will have to continue for several weeks while I parse through some of this data now. But at least we're getting results. We know that the state Senate is now looking at the SERC. They're going to see if they can claw back some of that money. We already know now that there's another a new state audit that's going on, so that's taking a look at these programs, and they've already found $20 million of the fraud. But I'll tell you right now, DeWine looks like a moron because he came out and said, oh, we've got all this rigorous safeguards in place. The best part about this is that all of the daycare places that we went to, like all of them, even the ones that were good, the ones that were like legitimate businesses, they told us how you can game the system. They told us exactly how you can game it. You can backdate the dates on the names, on the kids. And this is the greatest thing. One of the places we went to today, you may have seen the video at some point today. And then when we were outside, there's a bunch of Somalis who started screaming at us. Oh, don't talk to them. They're horrible. And the business owner is this American woman. She's like, I've got nothing to hide. Come in. Like, I'll show you my business. I've got no problem. She was very nice. Fantastic woman. She's great. She brings us in. She hands us paperwork. She hands us information. And she also explained to us how the system works, how you check the kids in. And she said, by the way, and if the parents show up and they can't check their kid in, the teacher or whoever it is that operates said daycare can write a number down and write the time down. And then the parent or whoever it is can then sign it in at a different time and they can backdate it so they can do it anytime. So that's how it gets gamed. And in fact, one of the best places we went to, Jay and Mahek get out and go look at it, and they've got the QR code for the mobile check-in posted on the door. So you don't even have to go in. It's on the outside window. So it's sitting there in the window, and it's the middle of the afternoon. There's no one there. And this place had received like $850,000 in taxpayer subsidies. There's no one there. The director is not even there. We asked the lady who was working there. She said, oh, yeah, the director went home. Like, what? Where is anybody that works here? But the best part is the mobile QR code on the front of the building. I mean, it's so obvious. No one's looking, and that's why it's happening.
Yeah, I saw that video. And good for that gal. She was like, we have nothing to hide. Come on in. And by the way, being able to backdate and back time a check-in is done for intentional reasons. If they're getting childcare assistance, the individual is getting childcare assistance, then they backdate the time so that they qualify. Because if they're not present X amount of hours per month, then they're not going to get that assistance. So by backdating the time and showing that they're present, it games the system. The child care center gets the money and the parent gets the money to help pay the child care center, right? And so that the whole thing is shady as all get out. And it's crazy that you guys on 10 minutes in cracked it, the biggest one. But what's happened though now is you're seeing this pivot, right? And so the important thing is this story is going to build, but what took place in Minnesota is unfortunate. Unfortunately, grabbing the media's attention now, and it's convenient timing. I'm going to say it's convenient timing that this took place. Paid protesters surrounding ICE using track. We know, like, let's be really clear here. It's public knowledge. They track ICE raids. They track ICE vehicles. They know precisely where they're moving, and then they move in on them, and they create a very intense environment, right? And the media is going to slaughter this federal officer for not getting run over, who, by the way, was in another accident, previously by paid protesters and agitators. You know what I mean? So, I mean, like the whole thing.
Listen to me, Chris. I agree with you. I agree with you entirely, Chris. I think that this is, I even said it before I'd even heard really anything. Like, we heard about it. I hadn't really looked into it. So I was like, what's going on in Minnesota? Did Tim Walz finally create a distraction large enough to divert from his fraud? I said it before I even knew what was going on. Someone sent me a message. She said, "Do you see what's going on in Minnesota?" And my immediate reaction was that. I was like, did Tim Walz finally come up with something? Like, he's finally got something so people are not going to look at the fraud? Is that what we're doing now? I mean, you can't really make it up, because to me, look at this now. So I'm going to put this up on the screen here. Look at what's going on now. Look at this in the streets here. This is going on right now. So there you go. Right?
Oh God.
Yeah, I mean, so when Chris says it, like, do you think that's all just, that's not pre-planned in any way? That's just organic. They got everybody out there instantaneously for this massive rally where they're saying rise up. Listen, this is going to turn into
land.
Well, the stolen land thing is they do this at every. That's like, to even be a Democrat now, you have to acknowledge that your entire existence is stolen from somebody else, and that you're terrible and you forgive yourself for being so white. So that's normal. But I mean, listen, this is this kind of protest immediately saying rise up, rise up, rise up. I mean, look, this is the Democrats, dude. The Democrats now are saying, well, we're in serious trouble with this fraud stuff. What do? Well, let's make it happen. And I know it sounds very cynical to say that, but I've seen this too many times from the Democrats to even sort of doubt it. I really do. I have seen it too many times.
I don't know if you have Tim Walz's statements from today, but he says he basically suggests, well, he didn't suggest, he says the words, we're at war with the federal government. He says that the only reason this incident happened was because the federal government came in and created this scene. No, that wasn't the reason this happened. The reason it happened is because you have paid Democrat organizations that are being funded heavily, that are paying protesters to track federal officers, ICE, and create mob scenes. And it was inevitable that this was going to take place at some point in time. I would submit the reason why it took place was because if you actually see the lead up to this, it's very clear that they create a very intense moment in the lead up to this. And whether, and it's being alleged, I cannot confirm this, is being alleged that this gal, they have a name of the gal, and that she was one of these paid protesters. They're saying she's from my home state of Missouri. Whether that's true or not, I don't know. I haven't got a chance to verify that because it's been a kind of a busy day. But the point is, this should have never happened. Everybody agrees that. But where the divide now is the Democratic Party saying that this is happening because ICE is coming in here targeting minorities, and that this is the reason this is happening. No, ICE is doing their job. They're coming in, they're targeting the illegal immigrants, they're targeting fraudsters, people who have been to the tunes of billions of dollars in the state of Minnesota, and then they're being tracked, like, I would argue hunted. They're being hunted because that's what happens when you track somebody. You're keeping tabs, you're stalking and preying them. That's literally a definition, in many respects. And then they create a mob scene, and this was going to happen. They wanted someone to be shot.
No, this is Chris.
That situation.
Chris, you and I have been talking about this for months. What have we been saying about what they're doing? They want their Kent State moment. They have been desperate for it. Desperate for it. That's what they want. I know it sounds cynical, but this is what they want. Okay, they want a scenario where law enforcement are forced to fire on what they're going to consider peaceful protesters. That's what they want. They have been desperate for it. Well, they've been trying it for months on end. That's what they want. They want these. That's what all of these big riots outside of the ICE facilities are hoping to get. That's what they wanted. That's what they wanted. And unfortunately, in this specific scenario, this ICE officer, I don't know how well trained he was. I don't know how well it was. To me, it looks like he was jumpy on the trigger. I know that they did hit him, and it is a good shoot regardless. But dude, you shouldn't have been in front of that car, man. You shouldn't have been in front of that car. And that's unfortunate that this happened. Now he's got to live with the fact that he shot somebody. I mean, that's terrible. So this is again what the point is, Chris. Go ahead.
You know, he's got more problems than that. That is one of the problems. He got put through the ringer, and he's already being accused of being a murderer. But to that argument, I'll say, is Michael Byrd a murderer? Ashley Babbitt? We know she wasn't armed, and she wasn't even armed with a car. So if you want to go down this road, the left, we can go down this road. Because I thought, you know, when Michael Byrd gunned down Ashley Babbitt, who was not armed and didn't have a car, we didn't really care about that, did we? But here's what we do know. She was armed with a car, and whether he should have been in front of the car or not, the point is he was in front of the car, but she tried to run him over. And if he doesn't do dead. So this is a justified shooting, but he's still going to get put through the ringer. It's probably going to get put on trial because politics is politics, and they're not going to, you know, they're cowards. We know we have plenty of cowards that are going to want this to be on trial because they're not going to, we don't have enough people that are actually just going to come out and say, no, this is justified, and you could do your investigation, but we back them up. I hope that's what happens, but I could see this going sideways. Another thing, I did a video a couple of months ago about what was going on in Minnesota with every, like Chris said, they're stalking every ICE operation, blowing whistles in their face, jumping on their back when they're placing people under lawful arrest. I said months ago, we need zero tolerance. Something bad's going to happen. There can't be any interfering and obstructing of law enforcement when they're making a lawful arrest or operating in a lawful manner. And this has gone on for way too long, and this was inevitable. And yes, the left now got what they wanted, but I partially blame not us personally, but Republicans for allowing this to go on. You touch one of these guys, you spit at them, you blow whistles in their face when they're actually trying to operate, you get arrested. No exceptions, nothing, zero tolerance. And it's led to this. I see it as it led to this moment, and now we got a problem.
Yeah, you know,
well, I agree with you one sec here, Chris, because there's something I want to tag on this, because this is something we've been talking about. Jay and I were talking about this today. I was like, listen to me. I have always had an issue with these guys that they arrive at these ICE facilities, okay? They arrive at these ICE facilities, and you want to claim you have a right to protest, and sure, you do. You got a right to assembly, you got a right to protest, you got a right to free speech, you got a right to do all those things. But if you show up in freaking riot gear with a gas mask, a baseball bat, and a whole bunch of black friends with a whole bunch of your friends in body armor, you ain't there for a protest. Okay, that's not a protest. You're not there to voice your opinion. Okay, you show up with baseball bats, riot gear, umbrellas, bottle rockets, and everything else. You're there for a riot. You're not there to peacefully protest. You should be arrested if you arrive dressed like that with all of your friends outside of an ICE facility. That ain't legal. I don't care what you think. If you want to have a protest, the way that most people have protests, when most people have big organized protests, you know, they go get a permit, then they go set it up with the city, and then they make sure they organize it, and then the police know that they're there. What the hell are these guys doing? They just arrive with all of their buddies with bottle rockets, baseball bats, and gas masks and tear gas and everything else. What the hell is that? That's not a protest. And no one believes it's a protest, and no one sees it as a protest. You're there to be a rioter. You're there to be a provocateur. You're there to cause problems. And everybody knows it. Like, that's the problem I have with this. And it is an organized effort. It's not like it's at one or two places. These same guys, listen to all of the reporters that are out there on the ground. They know for a fact that they see the same people at each one of these things when they really heat up. They know that it's the same people. We know it's the same people. It is an organized attempt at provocation against our law enforcement. And this is just defund the police 2.0. And they're going to try and make this BLM 2.0. That's exactly what this is going to try and be. They're going to try and make this BLM 2.0 across the streets in Minneapolis, because they're going to try and claim that this woman, I've already seen it. She's a poet. Oh, yeah. Oh, she's a poet. She's a saint. Well, she tried to run an officer over. She's not a saint. Okay, I don't care about this woman. This woman tried to kill somebody, and she was, further than that, she was following them around all day. I mean, she is obviously looking for problems. You're looking for problems with law enforcement. And my thing is, I'm on the same pen as Jay here. Listen, if you're screwing with our law enforcement officers, you deserve it to get into these kind of things are inevitable. They're inevitable. And the unfortunate part is they're in these places where none of the prosecutors are going to do anything to them because they all have weak prosecutors. That's the reality of it. They all have weak prosecutors, and it's unfortunate. But I don't know I hope that this ICE officer, I hope they take him out of the state. I hope that they completely defend him and say he did nothing wrong. And I hope they don't even let the state authorities try and prosecute this guy, because they will try and prosecute him. That's the one thing you just got to worry about here. The state's going to try and go after him.
I guarantee it. Absolutely. You know, the godsend for this situation is that Donald Trump's president, and the DOJ is controlled by this president, and they're pro law enforcement, right? But here's the thing: is he's going to get processed like crazy. They're going to go after him. Not only that, but what is happening in this moment to his family, to people that he knows, people he works with, the story I have, Jay. I'm sure you and Walter, you may even have friends that you know that are law enforcement that have gone through this, that have been in a situation. I have had two good friends that I've known since middle school that are cops, two different departments, one in Kansas City and one in a surrounding area, who have been in this situation. And they were in this situation under Biden, actually, the Biden administration, with Democrat prosecutors. Their lives were on the line. They were facing maximum punishment. And fortunately, you know, they were able to get off, right? But in a state like Minnesota, this guy is toast if the administration doesn't protect him. This guy is toast if they don't also launch an investigation. And I do think that this is going to be the event that triggers additional resources towards RICO. They're probably going to try to figure out if this gal was not from there and she was a pay protester and she was following ICE around and that was her job, she's getting paid for this, and they tie her to an organization. It is my belief that they're going to start to freeze bank accounts, and they're going to start to launch on some of these groups, because you can't have this taking place. We can't have other lives impacted, even if he didn't. I wish this gal was still alive. Of course, nobody wishes that she was dead. But even if he shot her in the arm, even if he shot up her car, the media is it's the same thing. It's the same hysteria,
Yep.
the same messaging. It's the whole thing. No one is talking about the groups that are paying these people to be in these situations. And my message to anybody who would be listening, which is, they're not going to listen because this is their job. But if they were to listen, if even one person were to hear this message, it would be that these politicians are liars. Your life is worth more. Do not put yourself in this situation, because this administration is not playing around, and they have every reason to be in Minnesota. Al-Shabaab is operating out of Minneapolis. Like, what are we talking about here?
Yeah, I mean, it's not just that. We're talking about an organized effort that has been going on for years. I mean, you guys, if you don't follow the good reporters out here that have been doing the work, people like Andy Ngo, people like, all of these ground reporters that have been out here on the ground, the Antifa's tried to kill these people for years. It's not a joke. They try to kill these people on a regular basis. They are an organized organization. They are an international organization. These people, my argument was that they should make Antifa an international terrorist organization. That's what they should have done. I thought it should have been an FTO, foreign terrorist organization, because they have their members being arrested in Switzerland. I mean, how can you have Antifa International and claim it's not? But of course, according to the media, it's not a thing. It's not a real thing. It is a thing. Okay,
it's just in the name.
That's right.
It's just in the name. That's all.
It is. The deal is that in this scenario, though, they finally got what they wanted, and now they're going to try and use it. That's what they're doing right now. They're going to play this woman up. She's going to be the mom. She's going to be the hero. She's going to be the poet. She's going to be, we're going to have St. Floyd season all over again. I mean, that's what it's going to be, the winter, summer of love. I mean, that's what we're talking about. We're going to have the Winter Olympics of whatever the hell this woman's name is. Next to the protester number 775 to them, but they don't care. They're going to make this woman a absolute saint and hero, and they're going to plaster her name everywhere, and they're going to make this guy the villain, and he's going to say he's some horrible person, and they're going to chastise him, and they're going to try and charge him with state charges. The administration, the unfortunate part is the administration's in a real bind here, because they have to stand with him. They have to stand with their ICE officers, because they can't abandon their ICE officers right now, because then all of them will quit. If you do not stand with this officer in this scenario, they will lose the entire ICE administration. You have to stand with them 100%. There's no choice. You have to stand with them 100%. And it may have been, to me, I looked at it, it was a good shoot. No matter how you look at it, it was a good shoot. She hit him with his car. You can see it in the video. She actually did hit him in the car with the car. That's a good shoot. Whether he was jumpy, whether he should have been in front of the car, she shouldn't have tried to run over top of him anyway, and she definitely shouldn't have been following him all day long. So, I mean, that's at the end of the day, the administration is going to have to stand with this guy. I don't know how they're going to defend him against state charges. That's going to be a whole mess. It's going to be a mess, and they're going to make this thing as big as they possibly can, and it's only going to get worse. So I don't know. We'll see what the future result of this is, guys. But obviously, this is only going to take off up here in Minnesota. Keep your eyes on Minnesota closely. Any last words, you guys? And we're going to get out of here for the evening.
Go ahead, Christopher, and I'll go after you.
You know, this is already going to turn into a deal. You know, the video footage of the event was this gal's wife allegedly. You know, I mean, this is going to be a whole election deal, right? And so, to your point, Walter, if they don't stand with this person, if they demand or force ICE agents to unmask, if they do all of these things, they will resign in mass. There's no way ICE agents are going to put their family at risk for the job that they do, right? These people are not there going after, like, you know, just random criminals. These people are going after illegal immigrants tied to cartels and tied to terror organizations and other things. And every time they go out into the field, once they're identified, they're made, to use a term, they're made, like they're gonna, these groups run down their families. And unfortunately, in this scenario, you know, a lot of these leftist organizations, like the you know, that are on these platforms, they're doing the job for the cartels. They're doing the job for the terrorists. They're taking these people's photos. They're going down and running down their wives and their kids and their cousins and all these things. And they're going to be putting all this guy's information out there on different platforms. In the life of these people, like not just this officer, but heaven forbid if he's married or has kids, it's forever changed. And it's a sad tragedy, but it's even more sad that in this United States, people like her are put in these situations because of Democrat politicians and organizations that are intentionally doing this to provoke action on behalf of ICE and to cause chaos in the streets, because it is by definition a color revolution now. This has been going on for years. It is what it is. We have to address it what it is. And I think the president's going to probably use this at some point in the near future for the Insurrection Act.
Yeah, I mean, they might have to.
Should have happened already.
Go ahead, Jay.
Should have happened already. Should have happened already in Portland. Should have happened already in Chicago. That's another thing that should have happened already. This is, you let this go too far, and now we have this. And by the way, you said it was hunting, Christopher. It's stalking. It's harassment. If you did this to anybody during the day and they called the police, they would probably write at the very minimum a report for harassment and giving that person the opportunity to go get a restraining order against you. Okay. Number two, this is another thing where the Democrats caused the problem. We're trying to solve the problem. Now we're the problem. Every single time it's wash, rinse, repeat. And the media echoes this and parrots it now. ICE is the problem. Donald Trump's the problem for going into places like Minnesota to get illegal aliens that Joe Biden and the Democrats let into this country en masse. Number three, I say double down. Now we're going to double down. Obviously, we need more ICE officers at these locations to keep the order, because you people can't control yourselves, and the Democrats are encouraging you to take these actions to obstruct, to harass, and to prevent ICE from performing their job that they took an oath to do, enforcing laws that you put on the books. Double down. Now's not the time to back away. Now's not the time to to cut these guys loose. Now's the time to double down and say, we are going to go even harder now, because this cannot stand. We can't survive like this.
Well, you know,
I agree with you.
Comment one thing on this real quick, because I know we're getting ready to wrap. Based on Tim Walz's press conference and based on this in the comments by other Democrat politicians in Chicago, New York, California, you name it. Okay. What I predict is probably about to take place, and this is really unfortunate, but it's probably going to take place, is I do predict that these blue state governors are going to order the National Guard to essentially block ICE. I think that they're going to step in, and we're going to have a constitutional crisis as to who controls the National Guard in these situations.
Walter's already talking about it.
Oh yeah,
Walter's already talking about
it. He said we're at war. He basically said we've never been here before. We're at war with the federal government, and he referenced that. He said, do not attack the National Guard. These are our neighbors, and we will be using them to protect the streets. What does that mean? What that means is they're going to have orders to protect Minnesota against ICE. And so that's going to be a showdown that's going to take place. And this is where they want to go. This is what they want to do. And it is so dangerous, because you're putting men and women in, these people, they're not making much money when they're in the National Guard. We're not talking about like massive money here, right? They do it for the love of their country and to protect their community and all these things. And these politicians are going to put them in a situation where they're going to have to face one another. And there is no good recipe that comes out of this right now, guys. There's just nothing good coming out of it. So I agree with Jay that there has to be action now, like massive action. People have to start being swept up in the corruption. Things have to start this has to start happening. And unfortunately, I'm not sure that it's going to happen fast enough.
Well, that's exactly where we need to be going, though, because you're right. They're going to intentionally try and make this as big of a crisis as they possibly can. I can already see the media machine spinning up on this. They're already going to turn this into the biggest story in the world. This is going to be the most important thing in the world to them. This woman is a super saint, poet, beautiful woman that, never done anything wrong ever in her entire lives. So, I think that this is going to get very interesting, but I agree with you that the color revolutionary aspect of this has been something we talked about for a long time on this show. It is very true. And at this point, I think they're desperate. I think that what's really happened here, and I know we alluded to it and it's a bit conspiratorial, but the reality is we started touching the fraud. And what's the problem? What happens now? This happens now. And now they've got this stuff all set up. Well, every time we touch the fraud, something happens like this. Every time we touch the fraud and people start to really focus on it, big news stories start to show up, and everyone wants us to focus on anything except trying to expose this fraud. Every time it happens. Last time it happened when Doge was all over the place, there was Tesla riots and Tesla bombings and, protests out of every single Tesla place in the entire country. Now we've got this happening right now, and suddenly there's protest against ICE all over Minneapolis, and all sorts of crazy stuff's happening, and now they shoot somebody, and now they're going to have riots in the streets where they're rising up. It is not something to say that it is coincidental when these things keep happening. It's not. It's just not, guys. And the reality is people need to wake up to it, and I think the administration... Hey, I agree with Jay in this, that they've been too lax. These people that show up outside of these facilities, they should have all been rounded up and arrested for organized terrorism. That's what they should have done. They should have, it is. And I know people don't like it, but the reality is, what do? Well, you got people moving from state to state to state to state, intentionally trying to attack your ICE officers, intimidate your ICE officers, or trying to dox them online. They've got people that are working through crowds. I've seen videos of these people showing up and following them inside of buildings. They're leaking them to the hotels. They're trying to throw them out of the hotels. This stuff is organized. It's not just random people. It's not just random people. Someone's funding it. Someone's setting it up. Someone's leaking them information. This is exactly as we said, a organized group trying to stop the administration from doing things. And it always seems to occur right when we start looking at where the money goes. And that's what always makes it signed off to me. Follow the damn money, because we keep finding lots of it. And I think that's the real answer for it. So we're going to keep looking at that. We're not going to give it up. And guys, this is the Political Theater. We will be back tomorrow night, 9 p.m., same time, same place. And tomorrow night, we'll actually have the space up and running. So it'll be a normal show tomorrow night. So you guys will be able to chime in on the show and be able to call in for the second half of the show. We'll be able to talk in tomorrow. So make sure you guys come back tomorrow night. If you guys are on X, if you guys are on Substack, wherever you guys may be tuning in, make sure you guys follow us there. Make sure you guys share the link out. Make sure you guys go to our platforms, go to x.com. All of us have subscriptions available on our platform, I think, except Chris maybe. But make sure you guys follow us all over the place, because we're always going to be here on every night, weeknights, 9 p.m. Thank you guys for being here, and we will see you guys next time on the theater. Thanks, guys.
Some folks are born with a liberty spark. Their hearts beat red, white, and blue. When the anchors sneer and the cameras bark, they turn the lens right back at you. Truth bound, ain't for sale, ain't for sale. We're not the party line sons, no, we ain't for sale, ain't for sale. We're the vigilant ones, so. Some folks inherit silk-lined halls, spend our sweat while preaching share. But when the tax man wraps his knuckles raw, their mansions suddenly look bare, impaired. Ain't for sale, ain't for sale. We're not their banker-raised hairs, no. Ain't for sale, ain't for sale. We're the vigilant ones, so. Yeah, some paint stars on press room lies and send the common men to toil. Ask them, how much truth will you trade tonight? They mutter, more noise, more noise, more noise. Ain't for sale, ain't for sale. Not the theater's pawns, friend. It ain't for sale, ain't for sale. We're America's steadfast one. No, we won't be spun.